Ron Paul, Meltdown, a free market look at why the stock market collapsed, the economy tanked, and the government bailout will make things worse. In A Meltdown, author Ron Paul takes a deep dive into the causes of the economic crisis and the role of government policies in creating the conditions for financial collapse. The book explores the origins of the crisis, starting with the government-backed mortgage agencies, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and their role in promoting risky lending practices. It also examines the impact of the Federal Reserve's policy of artificially suppressing interest rates, which contributed to the housing boom and subsequent bust. Using the business cycle theory of renowned economist Friedrich Hayek, Paul provides a compelling argument for the role of government interference in causing, rather than preventing, economic disasters.
Government's role in the economic crisis. The book questions the idea that capitalism alone caused the economic crisis and argues that government intervention, such as expanding homeownership, relaxed mortgage rules, and slashing interest rates, played a critical role in the collapse of the financial system. The government's new mortgage requirements allowed people with no savings to buy houses, pushing up home prices at an insane rate. The Federal Reserve's policy of printing money and relaxed mortgage rules prompted a major housing boom and attracted careless investors who walked out on their underwater investments when the housing bubble burst. These government policies enabled people to spend money they did not have, leading to the collapse of the mortgage market and the financial system as a whole. Hayek's business cycle theory. Friedrich Hayek, Nobel Prize-winning economist, developed the business cycle theory that explains the boom and bust phases of the market. The theory is based on government-suppressed interest rates, which give entrepreneurs the illusion that current production can increase more than is sustainable. This prompts them to invest in long-term projects that aren't based on realistic savings. By artificially lowering interest rates, the government also causes people to act like they have more money saved than they do, leading to a spike in spending before a big crash. The dot-com boom of the late 1990s is an example of the business cycle theory in action, where a decrease in interest rates caused by the Federal Reserve's expansion of the money supply led to record-high debt, coupled with quickly rising capital prices. By 2000, the resources necessary to complete long-term market investments no longer existed, causing the dot-com bubble to burst and the Nasdaq Stock Exchange to fall by 40%. Lessons from the Great Depression. This book examines the root cause of the Great Depression and how it can help us face the current economic crisis. By analyzing the inflationary government policies of the 1920s, the author argues that the Depression could have been predicted using basic economic principles. Instead of allowing the market to correct itself, the government made the situation worse by increasing the money supply to maintain artificial stability. The author explains how Austrian economists predicted the eventual collapse of the boom, while most economists believed the American economy was invincible. The New Deal, introduced by President Franklin D. Roosevelt, failed to revive the economy because it ignored the fundamental causes of the crisis and relied on injecting money into the economy instead of addressing the root causes. The book challenges the conventional belief that the New Deal was responsible for ending the Great Depression and describes how it prolonged the crisis. The lesson learned is that we should understand the root causes of economic crises and allow the market to naturally correct itself rather than relying on government interventions that may only make things worse. The folly of government bailouts. This book urges us to rethink our approach to government bailouts. The author argues that using government money to prop up failing financial institutions is not effective and only adds to the problem. Instead, failed banks should be allowed to go bankrupt. The short-term consequences of this are minor compared to the long-term benefits of showing the government is willing to let the free market take its course. The Federal Reserve's central monetary planning also needs to end, including its position as a lender of last resort. Banks that continue to believe the Fed will bail them out when they take risks will never learn from their mistakes. Interest rates should not be manipulated, and instead, left to recalibrate the market naturally. The author argues that a shift in opinion needs to occur about the role of government in regulating the economy, and it starts with ending government bailouts. The need for a commodity standard. A government's ability to print unlimited money leads to poor economic investments. A commodity standard, like gold, could limit government interference. Critics argue that it may cause deflation, but in 90% of deflationary periods in the last 100 years did not lead to an economic crisis, as deflation can lead to lower prices and increased consumer and producer outputs. Despite the benefits, the government is against it. However, the public needs to be aware of inflationary policies and taxes and could exchange paper money for gold at any time.
Ron Paul's A Meltdown offers a powerful critique of government intervention in the economy and its consequences on the market. He draws from historical examples, such as the Great Depression and the dot-com bubble, to illustrate the disastrous effects of government meddling. In addition, Paul advocates for an alternative monetary system, a commodity standard tied to a supply of material like gold, as a way to limit government interference in the economy. The book provides valuable insights for readers who want to understand the root causes of economic crisis and learn about potential alternatives for a sustainable financial future. By re-evaluating the role of institutions like the Federal Reserve and questioning the wisdom of current economic policies, Paul encourages readers to consider new ways of preventing future economic disasters.